you're seeing right now is our home. Today, we have mapped out about 98% of the entire Earth with the exception of most of the planet's ocean floors. Geographically speaking, we know almost everything there is to know about the geological structures of our planet's surfaces, but it wasn't that long ago that we knew almost nothing about the rock we all live on. It wasn't until the 16th century, from the years 1501 to 1600, a little over 500 years ago, that we truly began mapping all of Earth out. After nearly finishing with the exploration of Earth, save the oceans, human beings decided to then set their sights a little bit higher. On October 4th, 1957, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite to orbit the Earth. We have actually only been venturing into space for the last 64 years, yet somehow we have better maps of the surfaces of the planet Mars and the Earth's moon than we do our own oceans here. Advancements in modern technology have even allowed us to venture outside our solar system through satellites, and we now even have telescopes such as the Hubble Space Telescope, the most advanced telescope ever created, that can even see primitive galaxies located over 13 billion light-years away from us. That means if you are traveling at the speed of light, it would take you 13 billion years to reach the end of what that telescope can see. 500 years ago, we barely knew anything about Earth. But today, in 2021, scientists now have theories as to how the universe, everything that exists within space that we can see and what we can't, might end permanently. Here are 6 of those theories. Number 6. The Black Hole Era. Today, we know for sure that the universe has just begun, but in around 10 billion years, our sun will destroy the Earth because it will have started to die. As the sun begins to run out of fuel and expand towards us, killing us all, its core will collapse and the sun will turn into what is called a white dwarf. Then, within the icy temperatures of deep space far away from us, it will cool itself down for the next 300 billion years until it finally fades into the blackness. This fate of our sun is the same for all stars. One day, all stars will meet the end of their life cycles, plunging the cosmos into an eternal night. As each star dies, the temperature of the universe will drop even lower than what it already is. Ironically, the universe will most likely end not with a bang, but with a whimper. It would end not with fire, but with ice. With the death of the very last sun, the age of starlight would come to an end, and the universe would become a cosmic boneyard containing remnants of trillions of dead stars. The faint glow of white dwarfs would come from only the remaining light generated by their dying furnaces. On a clear night here, a dying star would only be as bright as our full moon. Over a long period of time, gravity would eject dead stars and planets from their galaxies, sending them back into the freezing void. Any life forms that might still exist may find refuge around aging white dwarfs that may still have some light to them, but in time, these will die too. A black dwarf is the last stage of a star. It's when a white dwarf has cooled down so much so that it no longer emits any heat or light at all. They are little more than the ashes of stars. Stars take so long to reach this point that today we believe so far that there are no black dwarfs in existence within our universe. Any matter that fails to escape its galaxy will just be sucked into a supermassive black hole at the center of it that all galaxies possess. Even then, getting sucked into this supermassive black hole would take hundreds of millions of years. Therefore, the rotational energy of black holes would become the last reliable source of power and energy for any exotic future civilizations that have managed to somehow survive out there. However, As the expansion of the universe accelerates, everything else would expand with it, spreading matter apart faster than the speed of light to places far past what we can observe today. By this point in time, distant galaxies and stars would be receding so fast that their light would become undetectable. Current theories even predict that by this era, even atoms and particles themselves, all the fundamental matter that makes us and anything up, will begin to decay, destroying everything and anything that could be left within the universe. The last matter in the universe inside of black dwarfs would be evaporated away and carried off into the void as radiation, leaving absolutely nothing behind. All that would remain of our once rich starlit cosmos would be black holes, thus beginning the black hole era. Life would have nothing to cling to. Nothing would be happening within the cosmos, and it would keep not happening forever. This could be the end of the universe, or quite possibly still be the beginning. Even after millions of trillions of years, the cosmos will spend most of its life cold, dark, and empty. It has long before us, and will long after we are gone. We are blessed to be given life by our universe for only a brief moment where we are all safe from its fiery birth and its icy death. Number 5. A universal collision. So, if we leave our solar system, travel around 70,000 light-years out to leave our galaxy, travel another 5 billion light-years out to leave our cosmic web of trillions of other galaxies, and then lastly travel another 200 billion light-years out even further, we will have reached the edge of what we believe to be our universe, otherwise known as the Cosmic Microwave Background, or CMB. It's a radiation afterglow that we associate to be the only thing left of the Big Bang. It is the earliest light that we can see with our technology within the history of the universe. Beyond this point, if our universe ended, there could be millions, billions, or even trillions of other universes. If that theory is correct, then this point of space would be called the multiverse. We know that our universe is expanding. Expanding into what? Well, we don't really know that. If other multiverses exist, they could have completely different laws of physics than our own does. Gravity may not even exist within some of them, which in turn would mean that some of them may not even expand as our own does. So perhaps our universe could be much larger than others, but it also might be the smallest one that exists in comparison to others as well. We simply just don't know. Within the afterglow, cold temperatures are usually around -455 degrees Fahrenheit or -270 degrees Celsius, except for one specific spot called the cold spot. It seems small, looking at it from this photo. However, the spot itself stretches 1 billion light-years across, meaning it would take you 1 billion years to traverse the length of the cold spot if you were traveling at the speed of light. Astronomers have been arguing for years on why this spot might exist, and there are a few theories. Most of them pertain to either technological error on our end, or perhaps other galaxies' locations may have affected how we perceive the cold spot's existence in the first place. But there is also one phenomenal theory that is just as likely to have once existed as well. Some theorists believe that the cold spot is so much colder than any other place in our universe because it might be where the edge of our universe touched the edge of another one, basically leaving a bruise behind on our own. The good news here is that if we did collide with another universe at one point in time, it only left a dent. If the multiverse theory is true, along with this universal collision theory that created this super void, then that means that if our universe collides with another one again, the outcome would most likely be so much more unfathomably and catastrophically devastating. Different laws of physics colliding on such a massive scale would be one of the most beautifully terrifying and chaotic things to have ever happened to our universe since its creation. If it did happen, perhaps it would have looked like a giant mirror in the sky, coming right towards us. Number 4. Intelligent destruction. Before the creation of nuclear weapons here on Earth, nobody believed that one bomb could wipe out an entire city. Within Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, however, that global concept was changed forever when a new technology was unleashed on the world showing what type of destruction humans are truly capable of if they simply just worked hard at it. The Tsar Bomba, the largest nuclear weapon humanity has ever concocted, could completely obliterate the planet Earth if you had around 16,000 of them. In 1986, around 70,000 nuclear weapons existed. Today, in 2021, however, it is believed that there are only around 14,000 of them now. There is no other species on the entire planet that is more formidable. But what about outside of our planet? Until now, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence has focused on detecting an incoming radio signal, known as the Repeating Fast Radio Burst, or FRB. The repeating signal was traced to a massive spiraling galaxy around 500 million light-years away from us. Researchers hope that by tracing the origin of these mysterious bursts, they can determine what caused them. With increasing computational power and more sensitive telescopes, researchers are expanding the search to optical and infrared emissions, attempting to target the possible techno-signatures of other advanced civilizations. These could include laser pulses, polluting gases like we have on our own planet, or megastructures built by other intelligent life around a nearby star to harness its energy. This power spectrum from a survey of 14 planetary systems included this signal that once looked promising, but no evidence was found that it was ever created by intelligent life. That doesn't mean that they're not out there somewhere though, and if they are, we would have no way of knowing what they're capable of in terms of destruction, and whether or not that boundary extends beyond their own planet like ours does. We could definitely destroy planets if we wanted to badly enough. Perhaps other intelligent beings could destroy solar systems or even galaxies. In fact, if intelligent life somewhere out there were to have already caused such a cataclysmic event, the path of destruction may be expanding towards us right now, and there'd be a good chance that we would never even know about it until it's far too late. Number 3. The Big Crunch. The most commonly held belief that physicists have is that the universe started with the Big Bang, and that since that initial explosion 13.8 billion years ago, the universe has been expanding ever since. Some people believe that this expansion from that explosion will last forever and that the universe has no end. Others believe that the universe does end at some point, somewhere out there. If our universe is not infinite, there's a theory that the expansion of it will eventually retract, like waves do when they flow back into the ocean, causing everything to reverse until the universe recollapses, ultimately causing the cosmic scale factor to reach zero, which could also, in turn, lead to an event potentially followed by a reformation of the universe, starting with another Big Bang scenario. This creation of our universe, if this is all true, could be the first time our universe itself has ever existed, or it could be the millionth time that it has existed. Within space, with respect to the scale and existence of the universe, there are no second chances, records of definite history, or any promises of any scenarios involving a future for anything within it. This theory, known as the Big Crunch, is even actually backed up by Einstein's theory of general relativity, but if something like this were to actually happen, it fortunately would not happen for a few billion years. Number 2. the simulation hypothesis. So, you might think this idea only exists in movies, but it's actually a real theory by physicists. The simulation theory or hypothesis proposes that all of reality, including Earth and the universe, is in fact an artificial simulation, most likely a computerized one. Oxford University's Nick Bostrom proposed an argument in 2003 that has to deal with ancestral simulation. To put his long argument into simpler terms, he suggests that the world that we're living in now within the 21st century has long since passed, and that after our version of humanity had evolved into a post-human civilization, they may have become advanced enough and had enough computing power to recreate a simulation of their prior ancestors, meaning us as we're living now, or so we believe that we are. He argues that all of reality that we're experiencing day in and day out is actually just a simulation that is currently powered on by our future ancestors that don't actually exist within the simulation themselves, because the simulation would be considered to be their own past that they're simulating. Wow, that's a mouthful. One day, our future species may actually be capable of producing this type of technology where they can revisit their old ancestors' histories through simulation, sort of like a live-action recreation of, let's say, the American Civil War, but through a computerized world thousands of years from now, made by humans that are far more advanced and evolved than we are today in the 21st century. So, what does all this have to do with the universe ending? Simply put, if this theory is actually happening, the creators and users of our simulated universe could simply just turn off the simulation whenever they wanted to, as well as turn it back on, and we would have no clue that it ever even happened. This is sort of sad to think about if this theory were to be true. It means that we, ourselves, within the simulation, would never reach the evolutionary point within the simulation to where the simulation itself was chronologically created by our future ancestors that we were meant to evolve into. Meaning we will never be able to know what their civilization and world would be like if it exists at all, because our simulation probably isn't programmed to evolve to that eventual point. All we can hope for is that whoever is running the simulation continues to play the game. Number 1. The Big Rip. In physical cosmology, the Big Rip is a hypothetical cosmological theory concerning the ultimate fate of the universe, similar to what I spoke about with relation to the Big Crunch in number 3. The truth of this hypothesis relies on a type of energy called dark energy that is present within our universe. Dark energy is a term that describes an unknown form of energy that affects the universe on the largest of scales. It is one of the most mysterious and abundant forms of energy, making up about 68.3% of the observable universe itself. The first observational evidence of its existence came from star explosions or supernova measurements, which showed that the universe is expanding, but actually not at a constant rate of speed. In the 1990s, physicists believed that the expansion of the universe from the Big Bang was either slowing down or had stopped. Instead, we now know today that the expansion of the universe, much like a supernova explosion, expands at an accelerated rate with time. In short, the expansion of our universe is getting faster and faster. This is because we believe that dark energy, which is causing the universe's expansion, gets stronger over time. If this truly is the case, then at some point in time, the universe will begin expanding at such a rate of speed that it will begin pulling not planets but galaxies apart. And then eventually, after another long period of time, the rate of expansion will become so fast that it could even exceed that of the speed of light, which so far for anything, we believe to be impossible. At this extraordinary rate of speed, nuclei would literally be pulled from the center of their cells, and then eventually, atoms would also be pulled apart as well. After this, nothing would exist anymore. The term and meaning of nothing itself wouldn't even exist. There would just be an absence of anything and everything forever. The Big Rip theory literally means that the universe is in the process of ripping itself apart entirely, but thankfully, without some new energy coming into play within our currently known laws of physics, dark energy's rate of speed shouldn't increase to these devastatingly dramatic levels for billions of years, which we will obviously be gone for by then, like most of these incredible theories. We are such an interesting species. We are the only creatures on this planet that are capable of logically theorizing about how the existence of everything may one day cease to exist. Our species' intelligence as a whole separates us from all other life forms on Earth. Sometimes I think we're not only the most intelligent species, but also the loneliest because of that fact. Perhaps that's why we argue and bicker and wage wars and fight amongst ourselves so much. It's most certainly the reason why we began looking for others like us out in space in the first place. We want to know things like what created us, why are we here, how we became so smart, what might end us, and if there is anyone else out there like us or better. Almost everyone alive today, at some point in their lives, might wonder about this beautiful and lonely mystery that human beings unfortunately share the burden of alone, yet together. It's actually quite sad to think about. But for all the bad we've done throughout history, we've also done some incredibly great things too. Life is not easy everywhere today, but it's a lot easier in most places around the globe thanks to our earlier ancestors' discoveries thousands and even hundreds of years ago that they made with us in mind today. Maybe that's what we're doing right now with space as best as we can during this generation. There are men and women who are modern pioneers today that are trying to make new discoveries with the future generations in mind too. Just you watching this video at home and making it this far into it proves that there is something within you that these modern day pioneers also possess, and what the previous ones before us also possessed. Space is such a beautiful, beautiful mystery, and so far as we know, we're the only ones in existence here on Earth and beyond that can ponder such a thing. And though that might sound lonely, it should also be considered to be such a rare, rare gift, whether it was gifted to us by sheer chance or was not. We are such an interesting species. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, good. Subscribe and all that stuff if you wanna. I'm gonna start making videos on this channel again. See y'all soon. Thanks, guys.